Hello YouTubers, here again. Now I thought I'd do a comedy from the early 80s, that's right, a comedy from the early 80s. And it's sort of a comedy you wouldn't get away with nowadays. It's what you call predicatory correctness. That being Revenge of the Nerds. That's right, Revenge of the Nerds. Right? Sort of a comedy coming of age film, it's called Revenge of the Nerds. Starts off, you've got a young lad and his mate comes down, and these lads are going to not university, but I say more college, like a college where you've got a boarding. So it's sort of like a summertime college. Um, the mum's told him to get ready to this college, and then it starts up with a bit of good 80s music. Revenge of the Nerds, Nerds, Revenge of the Nerds. I'm not going to do the rest because I won't do it justice. There's bits of the lyrics where you wouldn't get away with now, and certain words you definitely wouldn't get away with now in comedy or any movie. But I like Revenge of the Nerds because it's a different light. It's not the pretty people. It's not your typical everyday pretty boys and pretty girls. It's lads who are nerder. Nerder. Believe it or not, when I was a lad, I used to be a bit frigging nerder. Who wasn't? You know what I mean? So we've been there. We've either been the pretty people or we've been nerds. But I like this one. It's proper nerdy. It's a nerdy, typical 80s comedy. There's a few actors in it you might know. There's one who you might remember in the latest Happy Days. And there's another guy, basically Jim Cheetser, where if you've ever watched the classic 80s comedy, the classic comedy Roseanne, you might remember one guy in it who played the dad in the comedy series Roseanne. Just bear with me, dog stats in. Just bear with me. But yeah, just told my dog to pack it in because he won't stop bloody being irritating. Stats, stats, stats. But yeah, there's a classic comedy show from the 80s. That would be the dad out of Roseanne. And you don't feel sorry for these lads in it really, because his mate and his other mate, they meet a Chinese lad and a couple of other lads, even one who's very long, generally long, and I forget how the fuck can he get to college. But there they meet. It's sort of like a college, but it's more like a special school, like a summer camp. So they go and they have their own house and everything. And you get the pretty people on board, they call them nerds, you call them every name under the sun. I mean, I don't get away with the word nerds because there's some words you would not get away with nowadays in any film, even comedy. But there's a good bit. I do like the music in it. There's a lot of good classic songs in it. You might remember the song Talking Heads, Burning Down the House. Was the scene in it where the pretty people, as I call them, burn down the frigging house. What a great way to burn your house. Gotta burn down the house. And you get one dirt in it who the lad, is one of the nerdy ones, likes. Very pretty. I've got a slut really, because he's definitely slutter. But yeah, so they go to get renated and they're just making them dicks basically in a bit where they're going to get be a part a member of a club. I mean, it's just an excuse to make dicks out of them and they call them nerds. Because they burnt down their building, the nerds, as I call them, ended up having to go into the gym. That's their bedroom, is the gym. But long below, they do find a house on the way after looking. It's quite funny seeing actually. The little lad's looking for a house, and there's this woman. You take it, she's a prostitute, and says, "Do you want to come into my house, big boy?" And the little boy's like, but it doesn't go that far, thankfully. But yeah, they get into the house, they play it. Again, you get a good bit of music, they make a robot. They said these are like nerdy, typical teens. They are pretty good at them. They're good at making computers. They're good at making robots. They are pretty good. And there's a scene in it where they want to have a party and they want to be donated into a member. So they meet one guy in it, and I think I've seen him before. He was one of the actors who played Felix Leiter in the classic Bond movie, Never Say Never Again. Yeah, he's in it, which I thought was quite odd for him to be in a role like this. But there's a bit in it where they're smoking gas, definitely an 80s comedy, and this guy says, "This is good shit." I like it, I like it. So, Offend of the Nerds, it's a good one. I think at the time though, they get so sick of getting picked on. that's where the movie sums up Revenge of the Nerds. And let's not forget the ideal scene where they put film camera off. You get a bit of music from Mission Impossible, and they put film camera where you can actually watch the women, the girls, strip off. I thought it was a bit pornographic at that bit. You got girls stripping off. You got one that says, "We've got bus, we've got bus," and you see bus in it. One of my favourite scenes in the film. Um, then they get revenge on the lads. They put I think they can't remember what they put on them now. They put something in the undies, right, and it makes down there very very itchy and very very painful. Wouldn't recommend it. So they get their own bat, and then they go to this place like a sports centre to compete with the pretty people. But the nerds win. They actually win. The nerds actually frigging win. But what's so sad is, even though they win, they still get treated like shit. The pretty people go to the house out of spite and wreck it. But the gym cheats the pussies from doing it. He's seen it where he's in the gym, man. And he says, "You won. You won over some nerds. Nerds." But before all that, the lad, the girl I like to call the slutty one, he pretends to be like Darth Vader in this camp. The bit he definitely wouldn't get away with now. She thinks it's a boyfriend because she sort of had an argument with her boyfriend. You got the idea that they've done it. Takes the mask off to find it's the lad, the nerd. And he says, "Yeah, but all these stots, they just love sport. Us nerds, we love sets." And then she gets with him. I thought it's very defeating how she gets with him straight away. You know what I mean? After a bonk, but it is what it is. But again, as I was saying, they destroy the house. One of the lads gets pissed off. He gets picked on. His mate comes to the rescue, and I just love the lines. I love it. Anyone who's been a nerd, or anyone who's been there at school, been picked on by people who are prettier than you, I vouch for that. I vouch for it. There's bits in it where he offends his mate's honour, rightfully so, and he wins. He wins, and it's a film really for the people who are like, yeah, you're not pretty. You don't have to be pretty. People are different, and people get picked on all the time. So I felt the comedy. I felt it. It was your typical coming to age. It's your typical 80s comedy. It's got a lot of 80s songs in it, what you might remember. But I like Revenge of the Nerds. I like it. It's a good one. I do know they've made lots of sequels, but in my eyes, I felt this was the best one. It was more better as a standalone film. And I do know they were going to make a remake. Happy to say that never happened. I don't want to see a remake of Revenge of the Nerds. To me, it's a film of an edge of its time, and it should be like that. But it's a good one. And I do love the song in it, which is sang by Queen. Even though I don't think it was used for the film, they used the song, "We Are the Champions." You might remember it. "We are the champions, my friend." And I love it. I love it because I think "We Are the Champions" went for that type of film, Revenge of the Nerds. Makes a change from what I normally do. So yeah, I like Revenge of the Nerds. Shot in 1984. It's a good one, and it's a classic. And it's the sort of film I don't think they get away with now. It's very prickly correct, and there's certain things they say which I'm not going to say. But, it's ahead of its time. So for that, I'm going to give it a 8-star rating. 4 at 4, 8. So I'm going to give it an 8-star rating because I don't see no faults in Revenge of the Nerds. It's a classic comedy. It's definitely one of the 80s ones. When people think of 80s comedies, they think of Pats of the Party, they think of Porky's, they think of things like that. But I always notice not a lot of people talk about Revenge of the Nerds. But I like it because I am a nerd. Into then, I'll see you soon.